And we are back for USATF's Journey to Gold podcast, picking up where we left off in Budapest 2023. We are live from Glasgow 2024. Chris Nilsen, Sam Kendricks, pole vaulters, Team USA. What you guys got for us this week?
Not much. We're here in Glasgow, just hanging out in Scotland, seeing some moss and grabbing some tea, some cute little sandwiches and such, and here to pole vault a little bit, try to take down a Swedish kid.
It's been described. Everyone says, "What's Glasgow like?" And I said, "It's grimy, but respectful."
Hey, I'm just gonna let you know right now, these boys came with full personality, and I'm here for it. So yeah, here we go. So wait, one of your teammates says the proper way to pronounce the city name is Glasgow. Did you know that?
Glasgow?
Giglo. I like Giglo.
That-
But Glasgow. I mean, they got. You don't go to the Scots to try to figure out how you're supposed to speak English. I think they lost the war, and there was a movie about it. It's called Braveheart, but sad. But they don't speak English the right way. I think the Belgians speak the best English.
We figured out that going from coffee shop to restaurant to anywhere in the world, or anywhere in Scotland, now you're either going to get one or two people. You're going to get, what's the girl's name from Brave?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get Disney Princess
You're going to get
Scottish,
Disney Princess.
or you're going to get Shrek.
Or Bridge Troll.
And you either understand them or you love them.
We are going to get deported. All right, so men's pole vault is on Sunday, day 3. Women's go first. What are your predictions out there for the ladies? I know this is a hot button item for us here, giving out little predictions, especially for us, given that we have 2 really good ladies.
Yeah.
Ooh, star-studded. Star-studded, we have a team, but, sometimes you win so many medals, and I learned this from Wally. You look at the stats. You're more likely to win your first medal than you are to win a repeat medal. Yeah. It's almost even harder to follow things up. Though the approachability of a World Indoor Championships is better because it's a one-off, straight final, right? So whoever's strongest that day. And you don't want to talk about an athlete in the doubtful, but I just want to talk about who's strong. And I've jumped 10 meets this indoor season, so I've seen everybody. I'm the most competed track and field athlete probably in the world right now. And I've seen Molly Caudry, the Brit, cruise over 85 twice, and I think that's going to be a medal deciding bar. So anybody that can hang with her, because she's close to home, she's got a Brit for a coach, and everything's right in her backyard, everybody's going to be chasing her, I think. So long as the young one can really put herself out front, it's actually going to give Katie and Sandy a better target. And I think if they've got a great target to chase for, that's going to light the fire under former champions, because sometimes the hardest thing to do is get going.
Yeah. Under that same coach, actually, the Brit, a bunch of New Zealand kids, a bunch of Kiwis went over to him
Islanders
and Loughborough to go get coached by him, by Scott Simpson. We are forgetting about one of the best ever, Eliza McCartney,
bronze medal
from New Zealand, bronze medalist from Rio 2016 Olympic Games,
buddy.
And never seen anybody put so much hype on a 16-foot bar in my entire life, other than that woman.
Okay.
But everybody's a little dinged up.
Everyone's always a little dinged up, but she is a scaffold of a woman. She is 6'4", 6'3", maybe.
No,
she's up there. She's tall.
Yeah, she look eye to eye, Chris.
Yeah, but
smile.
How tall are you, Chris?
I'm 6'4".
Did she really look you eye to eye?
No.
She's about 6'2", 6'3".
She's about 6 foot.
She's taller than Sam.
Whoa, wait, hold on. She's in my management group, okay?
She's taller
I know
than
for a
Sam.
fact. She got a great
So
personality.
we've got Molly Caudry and got Eliza McCartney. Who else?
Yeah.
Of course, the Olympic champ, world champ.
Well,
Katie
the
Moon.
Finnish girl, and this question's going a long time. The Finnish girl, Wilma Murto, she's a hoss, right? So, and she's looked better than she's ever going to look. So that's why the deciding bar will be 85. The winning bar, 490. The deciding bar, 85. So if you can jump 85, I think you're going to be a shoe-in for a medal.
85, you're in the money. 90 is going to win it.
90, you're probably winning.
I know Katie and Sandy can do it any day. They just got to decide to.
Season's best coming into it? Are people going to have season's best? Are they going to something they've already jumped? Or, I mean, putting into, let's put this in perspective. Everyone's eyes are truly on the Olympics games this summer, right? So this is kind of are people still training through this, or are they actually peaking for this event?
His manager, Jeff Hartwig, actually said it perfectly. March
So
3rd is the final day of the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow. March 4th, nobody's going to give a damn about what went on the last 3 days.
And it sucks because it's so hard to make this damn team.
Actually, better yet. Katie Moon could jump the world record. Sam Kendricks could jump another American record. And on March 4th, everyone would be like, what's next?
Right.
Nobody's going to care.
Kind of stinks that way. But that's sport. You're only as good as your last meet sometimes.
But that's always how we figured out that nobody really cares about indoor championships. And for people like Sam and I who have gotten multiple medals before, it's like, it's cool to get a medal. It's cool to add on to
You are judged
add
by
that
your
thing onto
failure,
yourself.
though. It's almost like a lot of people don't even try indoor track because they don't want to fail. Because inevitably, if you show up and get beat, so that goes on your record, like a permanent record.
And now it's going to go even lower because World Athletics just 2 days ago came out with that update that the last meet of every single year is going to be the World Championships.
How do y'all feel about that?
I love it.
I also love that.
I also love that.
Because
but
if I do really well at World Championships, my wife can attest, I just dip mentally.
Yeah. Well,
I check out.
And truly, I like going after championships because typically people have a downward trend. Like Chris, they check out, and that's when I start to do like Wally over here. We start to rake in the prize money because everybody's going home. And I'd say,
Everybody's on cruise,
add me another meet, add me another meet.
Free money.
You know, I'm like a rolling thunder. I keep going up. But I like the end of this season champs because what people do during the season is they constantly giving up opportunity to be ready, which means it's going to get a little bit more skim because usually people pack the schedule after championships, but they're going to be a little bit more conservative before, which means that you will see the better players more rarely, actually. A guy like Ernest Obinya, he'll be there on Sunday. He's only competing probably 2 times, maybe 3 times before the Olympics this year. Now, if the Olympics were the last meet, well, he might only jump 5 times the whole year. And that's not very much for a guy like me who's going to jump 30 times, whether or not the championships at the end of the year or in the middle.
Chris, what about you? How many times you jump a year?
About 30 as well. I mean, we kind of have the full spectrum between
You've been bailing
our friend
on me this
Casey
whole
Lightfoot,
indoor journey.
between our friend Casey Lightfoot, myself, and Sam.
Yeah, that's true.
Casey, he's getting paid well enough and he's doing well enough. We figured out that the better you do in this sport, the less you compete, the less meets you go to.
Yeah.
And he came out stunting straight out of college, jumped an American record. I like to grind. And then Sam lives for the struggle. If he's not struggling, he will suck that day. So he has to have some kind of.
I gotta get going. Sometimes you gotta give a few extra yanks to the ripcord for sure.
So now that we're back to the men's pole vault, what are the predictions, between the two of you? You don't have to say place, finish, or anything, or what's going to be. Just what are you guys ready to jump? What are you guys ready to vault?
Me and Chris are boys. I was best man at his wedding, and if I knew him younger, he would have been the best man at mine. But we're good for one another. Because typically
We'll just beat each other up.
Because it's got to be something about this sport. You've got to love the fact that someone's beating you, or otherwise you're done. Because as soon as you don't want somebody to jump well, as soon as they get ahead of you, you mentally never catch them. And there is not a day, and this is not a disrespect to Chris. This is just what 14 teams will do to you. There's not a day in my mind that I don't think that I can't beat Chris. Now, he'll have to really prove himself. This indoor championships in Albuquerque, the highest you ever had to jump. I had to jump a championship record, higher than anybody's ever jumped at a championship in indoor USAs to get second place. Yeah. The only guy that could ever beat me under those conditions is sitting right here. Ever. And I've been on too many teams, more teams than you can realize, how many times you think about, I got to make this squad. But now you're going to have to jump records. You have to jump records to make the freaking team. That's not fair, but that's what we got.
Yeah.
That's what we got. And
Clearly, y'all bringing the best out of each other.
Yeah, I mean, when we say we're beating each other, I shouldn't say we're swinging, but I mean, we were just at a meet in Rouen, France, not a week ago, and Sam came up to me and he's like, I just feel like I'm not running that well. I probably pushed this dude harder than a bouncer at a bar, to be honest with you. So it's like, you got to just wake each other up, start getting a little sweat going, and like Sam said, you have to start jumping championship records if you want to win this thing. And, for sure, Mondo's up there. He does this thing. And now, we got Ernest in the game. He is a recent medalist at Budapest.
But the only way we're going to win is we make these guys jump. They make them look in their six. Because sometimes the best in history, sometimes they're wearing golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
They're judged based on their own, and they got their own stresses. You got to impress the underwear model girlfriend. You got to make sure the sponsors are happy. You got to do whatever. Yeah. And that's what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about me in his blind spot. Now he may win 9 out of 10 times, but he knows I'm always there.
Yeah. But the funny thing about the kid with the golden handcuffs is that they hate actually pole vaulting.
Yeah, they hate.
They're
pole vaulting.
so good at it, but I feel like the more
hate
talent you have, the less you actually want to do it. So he'll come in at a high bar, he'll pass 2 or 3 bars, and then he'll come in again, and he'll have to.
And
he'll have to jump those things. But if he has 3 or 4 or 5 guys jumping with him at those heights, he starts to sweat a little bit.
Yeah,
he gets scared. And a lot of people like Sam and I, when we get scared and we see people clear a bar much earlier than us, we're like, yes,
but
I want to get beat.
If I see him miss, I said, "There's blood in the water." Blood in the water. Absolutely.
Well, you heard it here first from 2 extremely talented pole vaulters, and we look forward to seeing the rest of the meet here in Glasgow. And thank you for joining us.
Nah, brother, not yet. Sorry, I got to cut him on that
Oh,
one.
you cut me on the sign-up?
Yeah. Nah, we ain't out yet.
Did
We're
we
not
not
done.
get the 5
We
rules?
got some other things to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to say we have to get some of this information from you two about off the track. So I hear you have a big project going on in Mississippi. What's happening?
Yeah, so I lived at a track long time, and I wanted to. Every track and field athlete, they love eventually the feeling that they get on the track, and it's kind of like gambling. Sometimes you can't get off the table, and inevitably in track, when you're between the lines, you get permission to let everything else in the world fall away. You just get permission. Everybody just gives you your space, and those are your moments. And sometimes nobody ever gets that in their whole life. Somebody's always breathing down your neck. To that effect, even if you jump for the privilege of being on Team USA a dozen times, still, like it was said by Nat Page, you're going to get screwed out of one. I didn't get to jump in Tokyo, and I didn't want something like that ever taken away from me again. So I built my own facility. Mississippi needed some high-level knowledge brought to it, and that was something that we always provided, me, my dad, and everybody excellent in track in Mississippi. As soon as we learned something, we didn't have the fancy credential on the wall. I didn't go to the U Staff convention to learn something. As soon as we learned something we thought was cool, we taught everybody else. And that was our beginning. And I was never good enough to see myself on the world stage, but now that I have an overarching view, I can share that. And that's what I'm building, a competition venue, because that's the core of track. Not getting fit. I don't care how fit you are. I care how high you can jump. And we can orient young people to thinking about, hey, what's their plan going to be like? What's their 6 months from now? Give permission to young kids to dream for something that may or may never come to fruition. That's what we want to do. And I call it the refuge. Right now it's pole vaulting. Eventually it's going to be high jump, throws, all the technical events you never would find the experts on in Mississippi. And I want to be able to attract people to Mississippi. I don't have some giant $1 million facility. I've been building it with the money from my landscaping business that I started after Tokyo. And I want to be able to bring guys like Chris and KC and all the star-studded people USA is born and bred, the mercenaries coming out of the cave, so to speak, so that people can freaking learn something. And it's going to be cool. It's beautiful. It's going to look like a golf course, and everybody's going to be a member of the club.
I think there's some video already.
Oh, yeah.
Floating
You
around.
can go to the Refuge Training Center, Instagram. You can see all the beautiful drone shots. I mean, my landscaping company is going to make this thing that look like freaking Augusta. It's going to be beautiful. Everywhere
Ooh-wee.
you got a dress code. It's going to be awesome.
Speaking of that as well, you talked about high-level coaches. I heard a little a rumor that somebody's a pretty good coach. Well, are there two coaches here, or what's going on? Tell me about that.
Well, funnily, Chris actually wrote my whole lifting schedule for this off. He came to
the
my
worst
house.
decision I ever had, 'cause he kept jumping better.
He came to my house and he said, "Sam, what do you do? What do you train?" And I told him what I did, and he says, "Sam, I don't understand this. Your whole training regimen is focused on being ready to go in 21 days." And
He
I
did
said,
hang
"Yeah."
cleans and pull-ups, and that was he told me one day, he texted me, and this is where this whole thing started. I said, I'm going to write your whole lifting program for the entire year. I said, what do you do for your lifting days? Because as athletes, we all have those in some point in the week. And he goes, I do hang cleans, and I try to see how many pull-ups I can do in 20 seconds. I hit 19. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive. Do you do anything else? He said, no. So I went on his whiteboard in his training facility. I said, start to do some, get him going. And now probably jumping better than I've ever seen him jump. So I take credit for that second place at USA is for you. Absolutely. Otherwise, some other kid might have come and stolen it from you.
You're lucky. You're lucky. You're lucky. You're gonna have to be looking in your blind side here in the future. So
I love the rivalry, though. I love it, man. You all manage it really well. Some people can't, handle it, but honestly, iron sharpens iron.
As one man
And what I'll
sharpens
say,
another, for sure.
If you got the best person that you're competing with, training with you, you know exactly how good you need to be. So you all, I love that y'all push each other. And I heard you, last thing I'll say is I heard you had some rules you wanted to share with some people.
All right, if you're a young track and field athlete,
Got to go through this together.
We
Let's
got to
get
go
her
through this
going.
together.
Let's go.
All right, there are some truths. Wally said, "Come on here and tell me your truth." I said, "No, this is not my truth. This is the truth." If you want to understand the most unprofessional professional sport out there, you got to know these 3 rules. Rule number 1: Wallace Spearman.
Get it while you can get it.
Get it while you can get it, right? This sport is 1,000 different cities, 1,000 different venues. They never talk to one another. Sebastian Coe said it in the press conference today. The politics of this game is what holds us back from doing our logistics and yada, 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 the balance and the challenges. I love Seb Coe, but you're not going to get anybody on your team unless you make it happen. And sometimes you're hot. Rule number 2, Aretha Thurman, team manager, somebody who's been there all the time. It's hard to hear this as a young person. Rule number 2 is,
You're only as good as your last meet.
you're only as good as your last meet, because there ain't no team, ain't no scheduled season for you. This ain't baseball. You ain't playing a doubleheader today. If you don't jump well today, you gotta have your own network to fall back into. But if you do jump well, that's when you're hot. That's when you go negotiate. That's when you go do your thing. Because eventually you've got to be hot in order to survive in this sport. You got to make teams. Reese Hoffa, my favorite, big man, wise beyond his years. Rule number 3:
Never pay for cable.
never pay for cable.
Never pay for
right?
cable.
Live on the road, and if you start spending your money on frivolous stuff you won't remember, then you're going to be poor at the end of your career, and you're going to need the sports psych guy more than you need a bank account, because all of a sudden it just ends too fast. And you just hope that you're in the team's room doing the USA chant, learning how to hold the dang flag again, and you don't get thrown out a bunch of times. Don't pay for cable. Save your money. And those are the 3 rules of professional track and field.
We kick it to you, boss.
And now, thank you for joining us. 2024 World Indoor Championships, Glasgow. Sam Kendricks, Chris Nilsen, Wallace Spearman, Eric Young. Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Never do it without you.
We out.